Welcome back to the Voice of Metal. I hope all you guys are doing really well out there. I appreciate each and every one of the people that have followed me so far. And I see I've got a few new people. I appreciate that. And also, just to let you know, I'm going to talk again a little bit about the whole goal. Basically, the channel is all about interviewing people that are in bands and maybe other people that are in bands also to get to know them better besides just the music, so that way we get to know the people behind those bands, because I think that's important. I think actually part of the reason there was a couple different people that got me kind of thinking about this. A couple of people before that, were some people that was talking to in a concert backstage and got to hang out with and got to talk to about music and them as people themselves as far as their and their music of course too. But the one thing was rather interesting, and the I guess the main focus for me on that was the once I got to a certain point, I go, okay, what really I think hit at home for me was James, because he was talking about him growing up and him being in a band and all this stuff where he felt like he didn't have the person he could hang out with and do the guy thing with each other and stuff like that. It's a lot harder. And I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity for people to know people like him personally. Hopefully, maybe down the road that will happen. I know some people have mixed feelings about Metallica's music after a certain point in time, which I totally understand. If you feel that way, that's fine. There are some people that still feel they enjoy their music a lot. I've liked it for quite a while, and I still enjoy some of it too. Only with the new album, I not really certain. I think with any music that I listen to that's new, usually I like to listen to it at least once, kind of bring it all in. And then, and I'm sure most people agree with me on that. Sometimes you go, okay, this is a little different. This is what I expected. And it's one of those things that it's like you got to figure it out, you got to feel it. Um, I think with Saint Anger, I was like that too. With Frantic Tick 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 Tock, that was like, okay, this is like totally different from anything they've done or anybody else has done. And at first I wasn't sure, and I wasn't sure if I got it, but I think after a while, listening to the songs, listening to the song the way it was, and at the time that it came out, they were going through such a rough spot in their careers with Jason and all these other things and problems with James having issues, and even bringing up dredging up the past with Dave Mustaine. Um, I remember very well because I know that was when I was dating my now ex-wife, um, which left me about after like a little shortly after my son was born, which is not what I planned it or intended on. But anyway, that's life, right? We all love, hate, change, evolve, just like our musical tastes. And even our music changes to a degree based on what they feel they want to do. Maybe they want their fans to hear. A lot of people sell it's a sellout. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I guess from my perspective on it personally, I think a lot of it has to do with innovation, change. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit of a sellout kind of stuff, but it's the digestion of the difference and change that makes it interesting and unique. There's a lot of songs that I don't like from them and other bands too, and there's some I don't particularly care for sometimes or certain songs, but I try to listen to it because one, I want to get a kind of open mind. I think for myself, and I'm sure most of you would like if you enjoyed something and you want to tell me about it, that I would keep an open mind too. So the 72 Seasons album is one of those that it's definitely different. It's a little more slow paced than anticipated because they are getting older. They're not as young as they used to be. But they're still kicking butt and taking names when it comes to concerts because I've seen them in with the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra and other concerts. And a lot of these other bands are doing the same thing. I mean, Max Cavalera, we're talking like Sacred Right. I think Obituary is getting up there in their age too. I haven't seen any pictures of them because I don't know them that well, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing them play because I'm definitely going to the concert. So if you're in Denver, please feel free to let me know that you've watched. I would love to hear from you. And anybody else that has heard me talk about the Voice of Metal, because I just met a gentleman today that is in Ocean Effect. No, the Ocean Effect is what it's called. It's a local band in Colorado Springs, and also I guess they opened for like Violence in Violet and Aligned in Ruins, which I know that they do not have an album out yet because he wants to make sure everything's really really good, which I don't blame him. I can understand that, but sometimes you gotta have the the shit hit the fan kind of spoke. So I can't say that really, but gotta be PG a little bit here for YouTube. But you know I'm getting at with that. But anyway, with 72 seasons, it's kind of like that where there's all these different styles, these different pieces of music that we've all loved and sometimes we didn't always love or hate it. I think I kind of it takes me a while to kind of bring it in and I feel it and I hear the words. Usually I think I just overall listen to it, then I kind of pick up the words and the instrumentals and stuff. Now, I will say this much. One thing I was not happy with 72 Seasons was it seems like certain individuals, and we all know that I've heard this before, prima donna kind of thing with usually the guitarist, but this seems like it's more geared towards the drummer. No offense to Lars, but it seems maybe it's just me because it like 3 or 4 of the songs it was like with the drums, which is fine. I like having that. I think if it's something is overpowering it, like it's somebody mentioned before, and he's totally right. If one thing is overpowering it, it kind of doesn't do the song justice. I think a lot of times. I do like a few of the songs that are a little more fast paced and some that are not. There are certain sections of certain songs I definitely care for than others, but maybe that's just because I haven't brought it all in yet. I've only listened to it maybe like most songs like twice I think so far, but I want to get a kind of a feel for it. Like most songs that I've enjoyed over the years, nothing stood out. I guess that's what I guess for me, because usually if it's something that I think is gonna be huge, I'm talking huge. I'm talking that I have this gut feeling either in the pit of my stomach or my soul, whatever it is, because I've done it before and I feel like I could do it again. Things that are just going to be like this monumental song that everybody is going to enjoy. It's just going to be like this, what they are. We all know that, right? We all have that feeling about it. Sorry. Anyway, it's rather interesting. That didn't happen with this one. There was one I think was really cool that I really enjoyed, and another one that reminded me of something that kind of reminds me a little bit of Batman. No offense. If you really listen to the tone, the actual tune, I can't remember now which one it was. It was rather interesting because it was just a really small snippet of the actual song itself that made me think of that. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I'm looking to see which one it was. I don't remember. I think it's Screaming. No, Screaming Suicide is not the one. Maybe it's Chasing. Nope. I don't remember. I'd have to listen to it again to let you know. maybe Shadows Fall. No, Shadows Follow, possibly, or Scream. No, I think Screaming Suicide was released before the album came out. Kind of like the 72 Seasons. Actually, now I will say this much: the actual main song for the title actually is turned out. I think is pretty decent, and even Lux Eterna is good, but it needs to be a little more. I think it's a little heavy on the drums at the beginning. Um, I'd like to have heard some more dynamics. It seems like it's a lot more heavy based and maybe in the drum category, I would say, and a little bit less on the vocals. But I know James is getting out there with his, he getting older. Who knows? Maybe he has some underlying problems nobody knows about. It's hard to say why, but I doubt that. Um, but overall, it's not horrific. I don't think, oh my god, this is awful. It's still a good Metallica album per se overall. I wouldn't say it's their best. I wouldn't say it's their worst. I think Lulu, though, no offense to I forgot his name, that they did that album with, that was probably one of by far the worst albums of theirs I've ever heard. I mean, I guess I just didn't get into it. I did feel it. It wasn't quite what I expected at all. I was hoping be different. Now, the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra with Metallica, phenomenal. I loved every minute of that because it's the dynamic of classic. And we all know, and I'm sure most of you, if you don't know, Cliff used to tell the guys, you got to have some classical background, history and music and stuff like that, the theory and well, not so much theory, but listen to it to kind of bring it in and say, okay, this is what the music will should sound like, and so that you hear that and you can just kind of take that in and say, okay, now what do we do with like a metal song? And you can hear that in quite a few of the early ones with Cliff in there. I have wonder if some of that got lost along the way. I don't know, over the years. It's hard to say because there's such a complex and dynamic sound in the early Metallica years than the later ones. But there are some, I think a couple times, I think with, what is it? Frantic was kind of one of those albums that they were trying to go back to like Garage Days visited type songs, that same feel or that same presence, I guess, of the sound, to where it was a little bit off beaten, kind of a little more rough and raw. I think. I mean, there's a lot of bands out there like that are kind of like rough and raw, kind of sounding. I'm trying to think of some that I'm thinking of off the top of it. I know what they are, but I just can't think of them. But it's like even with I was telling a guy today that the one I was talking about earlier that has this band that's local that I would like to talk to. I might end up going back to where I met him at and talk to him about maybe do an interview with him and his band. That'd be kind of cool. I think it'd be awesome to get kind of some local people talking. I know he hasn't got an album out just yet, but I figure this might get the ball rolling so that maybe he might, kind of perfect his sound because he's particular. It sounds like Max and stuff. I believe. I think a lot of it has to do with if you have the music, you got to have somebody that can help you produce it really well. Because I've noticed that some of my favorite albums and favorite songs have been done by certain individuals, which is kind of surprising, which I didn't realize that until later because I didn't know at the time when I was younger the producers of some of those albums. And later on, I think my son has watched a lot of YouTube and this, that, and the other, and he's learned a lot of different things. And that came up in the conversation with some of these bands that I liked and listened to. I said, now I understand. Now I see, because I think with a good producer, kind of pushing the envelope a little bit, I think, to get the record sounding a certain way and a feel. I think a lot of it's emotion, feeling, iconic. You got to do it the right way too. You can't just do a bunch of singles. You can't do a bunch of covers. I think you got to put out an album. No offense to some people. I'm not going to name any names here, but I respect them. I do. And I respect, you know, the people they're with. I respect all that. And I want them to know that, by the way. Um, but I think what they're missing, the key component, it seems like most, not all, some have gotten it within 2 albums, I think, usually to 3. That's where it hits hard. That's where it's the make or break type thing. But there are some other bands that are really great bands that have done that, and they still have not gotten to be huge. And I don't understand why. Five Finger Death Punch did, and a lot of their stuff sounds pretty similar. Um, that's my opinion, but I do like his singing. I do like his style. It's not quite as heavy as what I listen to, but I like listening to variety stuff. I mean, I listen to Sumo Cyco, I listen to Infected Rain, I listen to Obituary, I listen to Cannibal Corpse, I listen to um, Metallica. King 810 is a really good one. Nova Twins, which is not quite metal, but they are really good musicians. And if you ever get a chance, check them out too, because I think they're really good. Bloody Wood is another good one. So there's a lot of different varieties of music. And just because it's not quite metal doesn't mean that it's not good music, And that's what I talk about. One of the things I do like is talking about metal and metal music, but also things that are kind of skirting the edge of that, I think, because not everything's going to be like that, like death metal, black metal, new metal, all those different things. And I talked about that earlier, which some of those bands, and that was through Metal Injection, kind of give me an idea what kind of got them to, how do you say, those bands that put that into play for people to enjoy. And then other bands can expand on that type of metal music with black metal and new metal and whatever you like to call it. I'm still getting used to kind of figure out what's what, because I don't know all that. And that's one of the points for me, is to learn that, so that way I can talk to you and help you guys figure out some new cool bands. And I'm hoping that my playlists have gotten some people interested in other groups out there, like Celtic Frost, Jessup and Flossom. I'm trying to think. Some of the bands that I've listened to, those are some that I was introduced to. I'm trying to think. Hatebreed is another one. Biohazard. I haven't listened to much Biohazard lately, so I need to do that. System, of course, that was new back in the day when I first heard them back in 2000, which I'd never heard of them before. So, we'll see. So hopefully with all your help, that we can grow the channel. I can talk to these wonderful people, get to know them. I might end up doing like an interview and maybe just talk about what we talked about, because I think it's important to not only know about the artist, but a little bit about the music and the background behind that music that they play. Plus, actually, what inspired them to play a certain song? What made them decide, okay, I want to do this, not that? What types of things in their life, how do you say, made them evolve into a song that they can play for us to enjoy, and also to maybe learn something from, a lesson, life lesson. Because I know I've had some with suicides and, loves in their life, and, hard times in their life, and all kinds of stuff. It almost sounds kind of like a country song, no offense, when they talk about that kind of stuff, because you think most of them are like, oh, they're talking about pickup trucks and, their failed marriages or something, and their drinking problem, right? We all know that. Same way with metal. Only ours is just a lot heavier, and also our raw emotions. And that's another thing I forgot. There is a video, so that actually has people that are in the metal industry. Well, they enjoy metal music, but they're also therapists too, that actually say metal makes metalheads the most happiest people in the world. And I tend to agree with that. We're not perfect. We're not all completely happy all the time. But I think a lot of that, energy that we bring to that concert and release it. Release that energy. And actually, you know what? That I have a book that is really good. The Greatest Secret. If you get a chance, check it out. It's awesome. That kind of, in a way, it's they basically tell you to bring it in, the frustration, whatever it is you're having problems with, and you acknowledge it. That's what like the music does, and then you release it. You release that energy out there, and to get rid of that negative energy. So that's the head banging and all that stuff. That's kind of what it's about. It's getting rid of that negativity and all that things that frustrate you or upset you, like your boss or your colleagues or your family or whatever it is in your life, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, right? Even your kids, especially at my age. My kid's a really sweetheart. He can be testing at times, but you know, hey, we all get that way, right? When we're younger with our parents. Anyway, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, or I should say headbang the like and subscribe button right now so we can grow the channel. I do appreciate each and every one of the people who have done that. I do appreciate you very much. And even the comments, I really love all those. I love to hear from you guys. I don't usually know what to say right away, so it might take me a while or I might not see them. So please be patient with me. I'll try to get back with you as much as I can. Now, if the channel gets too big and I get too many comments, I might not be able to do that, but I will do my best to do that. It's not always going to be easy, but we'll see. I got a life too, you know, just like all you guys out there. So thanks for watching. Take care and have a very good night. I appreciate it.